In the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, where the city pulsed with movement and stories both known and hidden, lived a young man named Malik Johnson. At 17, Malik was tall, athletic, and known for his leadership both on the basketball court and in his community. But what truly set Malik apart was not his game-winning shots, it was his heart. He lived with his single mother, a nurse who worked nights, and his younger sister Aaliyah, who struggled with speech and was often misunderstood by her peers. Malik, shaped by a life of struggle and resilience, learned early that kindness wasn't optional, it was necessary. Each day, Malik walked Aaliyah to school before heading to Jefferson High. He always kept an eye out for those who seemed alone or burdened, his heart trained to recognize quiet suffering. His life had taught him how invisible pain could be. One chilly autumn morning, Malik arrived at school to see a crowd forming near the main entrance. Students were laughing. Not the joyous kind, but the sharp, cruel type that cuts deep. As he pushed through, he saw her, a girl in a wheelchair, tipped sideways on the pavement, books and papers scattered, tears running down her face. The culprits, 3 older boys, stood sneering. Malik's breath caught. He rushed forward, helped her upright, gathered her books, and glared at the boys. "What's wrong with you?" he asked sharply. "We're supposed to be better than this." The girl's name was Lily Carter. She was a new transfer student, and though she tried to hide it, her hands trembled as she wiped her tears. Malik walked her inside, sat with her until she calmed down, and offered her a warm smile. She nodded, grateful but distant. Over the next few days, Malik kept reaching out. Lily remained polite but reserved. Finally, after weeks of shared lunches and gentle conversations, she opened up. "I wasn't always like this," she said quietly one afternoon. They were sitting under an old oak tree behind the school. "I used to be a dancer. I loved ballet. I was the top of my class." Malik listened as Lily told her story, voice steady but filled with quiet sorrow. "I was engaged," she continued, eyes fixed on the grass. "His name was Ryan. We were high school sweethearts. He loved me, or at least I thought he did. We had everything planned. Then, 6 months ago, I was in a car accident." Her fingers gripped the arms of her wheelchair. "My spine was damaged. The doctors said I'd never walk again. Everything changed. Ryan stayed for a few weeks, but soon he stopped visiting. One day, he told me he couldn't handle it. That he couldn't carry a burden for life." Tears welled up in her eyes, and Malik felt a deep ache in his chest. "He left me," she whispered. "Right before our wedding date. Said I was no longer the girl he fell in love with." Malik took a breath, his voice firm and full of warmth. "Then he never really loved you, Lily. Real love doesn't vanish when life gets hard. It holds on tighter." Her eyes met his. In that moment, something in her shifted. Malik didn't look at her with pity, he saw her strength. But not everyone saw what Malik did. One of the bullies from earlier, Trent Walters, had taken a particular interest in harassing Lily. Trent came from a wealthy family, used his father's influence to escape consequences, and looked down on anyone who didn't fit his narrow view of normal. One day, Malik found Trent mimicking Lily's limp, dragging his foot while others laughed. Malik stepped between them. "You think you're funny?" Malik said, eyes locked on Trent. "It's just a joke," Trent shrugged. "You're too soft, man. That's why you'll always be broke and weak." Malik didn't hit him. He didn't shout. He just said, "If cruelty is strength, I'd rather be weak." The confrontation was reported, but surprisingly, other students began speaking up. One by one, those who had been silent began to support Lily, some even sharing their own stories of pain and rejection. Encouraged by Malik, Lily joined his student group, Unity in Diversity. She spoke at the next assembly. Her voice trembled at first but grew stronger as she said, "I thought I lost everything. My dreams, my love, my future. But someone reminded me that my worth isn't tied to my legs, it's in my spirit. Malik beamed from the sidelines. That night, as they sat under the same tree, Lily said, "You didn't just stand up for me, Malik. You stood me back up when I'd fallen inside." He smiled. "You did that yourself. I just reminded you who you are." Time passed. Trent's influence waned. His cruelty, once tolerated, was now condemned by students and faculty alike. Malik's movement had sparked something lasting. Lily began painting, channeling her grief into art. One of her pieces, titled Rising Roots, was featured in a city exhibit. Malik applied for colleges and was accepted to a top university with a scholarship for community leadership. One day, Lily received a message from Ryan, her ex-fiancé. He had seen her artwork in a local gallery and claimed to be moved by it. He asked to meet her. Nervously, she agreed, not for reconciliation but for closure. They met at a quiet cafe. Ryan looked older, uncertain. "I made a mistake," he said. "I was scared, and I left when I should have stayed." Lily listened silently before replying, "You didn't just leave me, Ryan. You left the part of me that needed love the most. But I've learned to love that part myself now. I forgive you, but I don't need you anymore." Walking out, she felt a new strength. Malik, waiting outside in his car, gave her a nod of pride. She smiled. "Let's go," she said. "I'm ready to live again." On graduation day, Emily, Malik's first friend in the group, gave a heartfelt speech about inclusion and courage. Lily followed. She looked out at the sea of faces and said, "Pain didn't break me. It revealed me." Malik Johnson taught me that even in the darkest moments, kindness can be a spark that lights everything up again. The audience rose in applause. Years later, Malik returned to Jefferson High as a guest speaker, a social worker now, dedicated to youth and community development. Lily was with him, now a successful artist and advocate for disability rights. Their story had become legend, not because of fame, but because it proved that one act of kindness could transform a life, and one life could inspire hundreds. This isn't just Lily's story or Malik's. It's a story about all of us. About standing up when it's easier to look away. About loving people not for their perfection, but for their humanity. Because in a world that often forgets the broken, the silent, the hurting, kindness shouts louder than cruelty. And it's that voice that changes everything.